Hello there, how are ya? Welcome back to How I Did It. Well, I have this trencher for 24 hours, and I'm anticipating by the time it's said and done, I will have trenched in right at about 1,000 linear feet between putting the yellow gas PEX pipe underground as my electrical chase, and then I'm going to use 3/4 inch blue PEX pipe. That way I can run water to different locations on the property. Now know that all of the trenching that I'm doing, with the exception of one area, is going to be on the center of drivable paths around the property. The rest of the trenching is going to be through the woods between oak trees, and it's going to be zigzag only because I'm trying to miss as many of the roots as I possibly can. I don't want to damage the roots to where they could potentially damage or weaken the trees, especially with us getting to about the halfway point of our hurricane season. So this first section of trench that I did was after borrowing the trencher from my neighbor Randy. So I had helped him early on in the day, finished up over at his house, brought the trencher over to my property, which is just south of his place, and started trenching the first portion of this major utility upgrade. Slow and steady really is the key, and I don't know if you can tell from the clouds in the background. We were getting ready to have our afternoon thunderstorms, so I was actually pushing this 1.5 inch gas PEX pipe down into the ground. That way, if this storm came in as hard as it usually does and it washes dirt back over the top of it, it would be at the bottom of the trench, which is essentially 3 foot down. Now, by code, it doesn't have to be 3 foot down. This isn't a primary service coming into the property. This is just me extending the service out to different areas around the property. So the barn is still off-grid, but it would be nice to be able to tie into the utilities as a backup. That way, if my solar and my wind cannot keep up with charging my battery bank, I can either use the generator or I can use the shore power. So it's not the primary service that is going to be servicing the barn. It's kind of like the old saying goes, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Well, I've got the mindset of 4 is good, 5 is better. So I have solar, I have wind, I have the generator, and now I will have the actual utility grid from our local electric company. So as you can see here, the puppies, of course, are loyal, dedicated, hanging with me in the rain. The rain has started, but because there's no major lightning strikes going on and thunder, I'm opting to continue on. Now, it was just last week we heard about somebody getting struck by lightning here in Florida, and it ended up burning the girl's iWatch, melting it to her wrist. So I only stayed out here for a brief period of time, and then I was like, you know what, at this point, that's crazy. So I go back in, wait for the rain to stop, came back out, finished trenching, pushed all the yellow pipe into this first section of trench, and now I'm just rolling out the 3/4 inch PEX line. Now, a really more economical route to go than your big box store, even Granger. I purchased a 500-foot roll of this 3/4 inch PEX pipe off of Amazon. They delivered it for free, and it was actually like $42 less than the big box stores, even with my military discount. So kind of keep that in mind. You know, so often we get stuck on the big box stores that we forget to check Ace, Walmart, Amazon, and we can actually find some better deals. Okay, now that this area by the RV is completed, I started the trench going through the woods on the, or I should say the pasture on the south side of the property. This could have been a straight line, but I would have had to cut through major roots, and I didn't want to take a chance on damaging trees, so I opted to just kind of do a snake motion. So if you have one of those metal finders, would be able to track this, because eventually this will have electrical wires running through it and that metal detector will pick it up. Basically, where the sub panel is going to be here at the camera all the way out to the gate is the general path of the water and the utilities running out there. Again, if you see the background clouds, we're going to have our afternoon thunderstorms come in. I wanted to make a point of getting at least the yellow gas line in, and again, this is just an electrical chase. I'm using gas line to put my wire in. So once that storm does come in, it'll wash the dirt down on top of it rather than have it on the top of the ground and me having to dig the hole back out. For the most part, everything around the property is between no less than 36 inches, but right at 3 feet, give or take a little bit. So this finishes this up. I had a little section to do in front of my water tank and my utility shed, and I hit my water line that feeds the barn, and I hit the water collection pipe that feeds the tank. But I had to get that thing back. So next week, part 3's video will be me installing the water hydrants and pulling the electrical wire through the gas conduit with mule tape. Alrighty then, y'all take care. Have an absolutely wonderful and blessed week. I'll see you next time.